What's going on, YouTube world and YouTube tribe? Welcome back to LilBigMan Gaming. I am on a little, I'm about to start my little mini vacay, but like I said in my little post, I'm gonna be doing videos here and there, just getting my brain juices back flowing. But I'd be remiss if I didn't do a review for Monday Night Raw. That said, I don't know if I'm going to do one for SmackDown, but we'll see in the coming weeks. And I said weeks, days. We start off Monday Night Raw with a KO, or Kevin Owens, and Big E backstage little promo, where Big E is basically trying to explain what happened last week, and Kevin Owens trying to explain what happened last week to Big E. And Big E's like, man, I don't know how you, like, he said, you're sitting here trying to basically explain to me, and I'm rubbing cocoa butter on myself. Big E's still trying to be Big E. But it seems like they're trying to make Big E, like, more of a serious, in between, he's like Big E of the New Day, but he's also, since now he's champion, he's also serious. But, yeah, he's, he basically said, man, I don't know why you sitting here talking to me, man, while I'm rubbing cocoa butter on myself. But Kevin Owens, he explained that because he said there's only a few people opinion that he care about, and he's one of them. And so that he just wants him to understand that he needs to believe him, that what happened last week was just an accident. He didn't really mean it, and Big E's like, look, Kevin, I got a match later on. I don't care, and walks away. So then the real promo of the night to start the actual, I guess you could say the real promo to start the show. Even though I don't know how you would call it. That's like two promos and one promo. But Seth Rollins came out, and he did his whole welcome to Monday Night Rollins. He said, as the undisputed face of Raw he said, it is my duty to inform you that he is a visionary. I am a revolutionary. I am Seth freaking Rollins. And he said he is the next. He said he holds up the little contract, the next WWE champion. He said he did come out, and he was coming out to talk about how he's going to lead Team Raw over Team SmackDown, but he wanted to turn his attention to Kevin Owens, basically starting the night off with planting the seeds of doubt that Kevin Owens is still who he it's still his reputation of always stabbing his friends and the people he partner with in the back. He basically, he said he's not that person. He's not that person anymore. He knows his reputation, but he's trying to prove that he's not that person. So Seth Rollins basically stirs the pot by saying that he is still that person, and he tells the whole story how what it's like being. How him and Kevin came up with the business together. That he knows Kevin, and he said one thing you can count on, that Kevin will stab you in the back. The crowd did like mess with him about his outfit, and he would like mess with the crowd, say, "What do you guys know about fashion?" I mean, he said, "Look at you in this." I think they was in Kentucky. He was like, "Look at you, messing with Kentucky crowd." So he did focus it back on Kevin Owens. This would bring out Kevin Owens, who basically had enough, and him and Kevin briefly brawl ahead of the match tonight, which Seth Rollins revealed was going to be the main event. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we would then get the first match of the night, which is RK Bro. RK Bro versus RK Bro and the Street Profits versus AJ Styles, Nomos, and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. It was an 8-man tag match for those who wasn't counting all the names I just named. correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was the first time he did this. But RK Bro got new music because it's like a remix of Randy Orton's music because it still come on. I hear the voices, they talk to me, and then but instead of doing Randy Orton's usual music, it gets down to it breaks down to like a Matt Riddle like beat, where it's still in the format of Randy Orton's, but it got a little bit of hip hoppy bro-ish beat vibe to it now. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. I get that you're starting to give everybody new music who got like a little tag team or some type of gimmick. This match was a good match. It was a good match to start off Monday Night Raw. I enjoyed the it's not it. I mean, we do get them more than we do tornado tag matches, but it was a good match to start off the night, and due to some miscommunications and Matt Riddle wanted to try to help the Street Profits with Omos. Omos would hit him with the double-handed chokeslam, and but Matt Riddle, I think AJ Styles wanted to get the pin. I think he was gonna do something, but Dolph Ziggler and them was still the tag and end up pinning throughout the chaos, ensuring they end up pinning Matt Riddle, who was still basically that was the only odd part was that during this whole time of the stealing of the tag after the double hand chokeslam from Omos, during all this whole time Matt Riddle is just on the ground. So it's like I forgot all about that. That he was still just laying on the ground. So you mean to tell me a double-handed chokeslam from Omos is so powerful that so many minutes could pass that usually in a match, that means you by the time you get pinned, you're getting the arm up. He still was too weak to get the arm up and got pinned. Wow. Okay, but yeah, he got pinned by Dolph Ziggler, giving Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler the victory. And Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, AJ Styles, and Omos the victory. We would have a backstage little moment with Kevin Owens talking to Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio about believing him and the fact that he didn't really mean it. And Rey Mysterio actually I think he was like the first person or the only person. He was either the first person or the only person to actually admit that he believes Kevin Owens didn't really mean to do what he did. And that helped Kevin. He was so cause that whole storyline with Kevin is that he leading up into his match with Seth Rollins, he just going in different backstage moments. He's just going and asking people, do they believe him? The first person was Big E, obviously. Then it was Rey Mysterio. I think the next person after this would be R-Truth. But this will lead into the second match, this backstage promo after the first match, which will lead to Dominic Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. Well, at first he gets into the ring with Adam Pearce, because Adam Pearce had called them both to the ring, and Adam informed him that while they was making the teams for the Survivor Series teams for SmackDown and Raw, the women and the men's, he said he made a mistake with the Raw team. And he revealed that the mistake was everybody on the Raw men's team were former WWE or World Heavyweight Champions, and he said everybody except for Dominic Mysterio. And he said, don't get me. I know y'all confused. You don't know what I'm talking about. He said he wanted to ensure that what happened at the last Survivor Series happened again when Raw had a clean sweep. I think except for the match with Roman Reigns, they had pretty much a clean sweep over Raw. Over SmackDown, and they wanted to ensure that happened again. So he wants to ensure that Raw has that same opportunity to have that clean sweep again. So he was saying that he wanted, as of right now, Dominic Mysterio was on the team still. Don't get me wrong, don't make no confusion. You're still on the team, Dominic Mysterio. That is, if you could beat this man. And he will proceed to walk out the ring and back to the backstage area. Then we'll get the music of the returning Bobby Lashley along with MVP. And basically, the second match will end up being Dominic Mysterio versus Bobby Lashley. Winner either stays or gets added to the Raw Man's team. Or not added, but replaced. As in, if Dom were to win, he will stay on the Raw's team. And if Bobby were to win, he will replace Dominic Mysterio and take his spot. So the match was basically about akin to a squash match, because aside from a few flurries of offense, it was mostly dominated by Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley would end up putting him in the hurt lock, but wouldn't let Dominic Mysterio tap. The first time you could see that he was getting ready to tap, but he would stop the tap and continue the punishment. But in the end, Bobby Lashley would, after dominating, spearing him and putting him back in the hurt lock again, Bobby Lashley even having a little interaction with Rey Mysterio, as Rey Mysterio couldn't stand seeing his son getting beat up like that. So he tried to I think Bobby Lashley had Dominic Mysterio on his shoulders for the second time, getting ready to run him into the ring post. But this time he will get pulled off by Rey, but Rey would he would turn in big boot Rey, and then pick Dom back up and still do it anyway, but spear him and put him back in the hurt lock, and Bobby Lashley is your winner. So which means that now the Raw team will consist of Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Bobby Lashley, and I think where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't remember who the fifth person was. I know it was it's Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Bobby Lashley, and it was somebody. It's a fifth person. I can't remember who it was. That was going to be with the team. So then that would lead into. Let me get to the next side. It says now we got that segment over with. Yeah. There was piggyback off of his interaction with the Alpha Academy. The next match would be the match that Big E was talking about earlier in the night, which will be him versus Chad Gable. And this match was probably one of the best matches of the night, because Chad Gable, he might not be they might not give him the proper push that he deserved, but he's definitely a good talent, and he's definitely he could definitely put on a match, and he put on a great match with Big E, and yeah, that match was good. Chad Gable had a lot of offense. He had way more offense than you thought he would, but then Big E will eventually get some offense and actually turn the whole match around, end up hitting the big ending on Chad Gable, and thus winning the match. But he promised Seth Rollins that he will be out for his match at ringside to make sure everything goes smoothly. I think that was in a backstage promo where Big E, a little while after that match, Big E told Seth Rollins that he would be out ringside. And Seth Rollins even then was trying to stir up the pot, saying that you can't trust Kevin Owens and this and that and that. And he was like, look. Big E basically put it to Seth Rollins like this: I don't trust you, and I don't trust Kevin Owens. But that's what he said. But I will be out ringside at your match to make sure everything goes smoothly. The fourth match on the night would be Reggie versus Drake Maverick in a 24/7 championship match. The match in itself was good, and it was surprising. I didn't see that coming, but the match ended up being a good match, and then Drake Maverick ended up getting the pin on Reggie to become the new 24/7 champion, and to end Reggie's reign. And his celebration, of winning the championship, and since when it's an actual match, the rules of the 24/7 championship is suspended. But once that bell rings and the match is over with, the rules are back and reinstated. So in the middle of Drake Maverick, celebrating, he would get pinned by Akira Tozawa. Akira, watching the commotion going on in the ring, he actually slipped out of the ring, was just like, well, you know what? I'm going to tippy toe out of here. Tippy toeing, and all you see is Corey Graves. Everyone, Corey Graves get out and just like he's like, whoa, whoa, he's hopping, he's hyped, and then he grabs Akira and pins Akira to become the new 24/7 champion. Corey is excited, but then the exact same thing like what happened to Akira from Corey, what happened to Corey, Byron Saxton is now behind him going, oh, and then he will grab Corey and pin Corey to become the new 24/7 champion. He's sitting there yelling and happy that he's the new 24/7 champion, and then he too will get pinned by Drake Maverick. He would get pinned. Byron would get pinned by Drake Maverick, who would try to escape, but would get pinned by Reggie. So basically, the whole segment was Reggie lost the match and his title only because of the ensuing chaos. And the chaos, I forgot to mention too, that the chaos was because the reason why what led to Reggie losing in the first place was because the Hurt Business was beating up R-Truth, and I guess the fight spilled out into the ring, and that's what distracted Reggie, causing him to lose in the first place. But all is right with Reggie when everything was said and done. Even though like 5 different people held the belt, Reggie Reggie became your new 24/7 champion. I thought this was a promo with Becky Lynch because I had wrote down in my notes Becky Lynch promo. I thought she was coming out to talk about the upcoming match, which was earlier in the night announced by Alan Pierce and Sonya Deville to be that of a fatal 5-way for the women's team, which consists of Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Queen Zelina, Bianca Belair, and Carmella. In a backstage segment with all 5 of these women plus Doudrop, Nikki, and Dana Brooke. Basically, they was complaining that it was developed into a backstage not fight but argument because Doudrop, Dana Brooke, and Nikki wanted to know why Bianca get how come she got a spot in this program, in the Fatal 5-Way match. And why did she got a spot in that match or in the Survivor Series team elimination match? Because they feel like she on the loser streak she's been on, she should have went to the back of the line. She shouldn't even be getting the opportunity to be on the Survivor Series team. And this devolves into like basically Doudrop, Nikki, and them asking or telling Sonya Deville and it appears that they deserve that opportunity that the other 5 women are getting. And this brought down to an argument which would lead into that match. Becky Lynch would come out first and join the commentary team. I thought she was about to make a promo, but she just came out to the commentary team. And we would get the Fatal 5-Way match that started like with a brawl before the match could even start. And then when we get back from commercial break, the match actually started and the match got underway, which was a pretty good match. I couldn't say it wasn't. I was rooting for 2 women, and one of the 2 women I was rooting for actually won the match. But yeah, the match. Though I didn't like the way the match finished because the finish to the match was a good match. You didn't need that finish because it made the winner who won it look a little bit weak, and that finish was the fact that Bianca Belair had to hit the kiss of death on. I think she hit it on Carmella after beating up Zelina. I think Zelina was trying to do something. And she would hit the case of death on Carmella, and then you saw Queen Zelina roll out the ring. Bianca would try to pin Carmella, but would get pulled out the ring by Doudrop. Doudrop would so basically turning Doudrop heel, I guess, and Doudrop would beat up on Bianca Belair, causing her not to be able to get the win. Which Liv Morgan would come into play and pick up the victory herself, and thus becoming the new #1 contender to to Becky Lynch's women's championship, which I am happy they giving a push, because obviously this is like their counter to Ruby Riott, aka Ruby Soho, and AEW being pushed as a singles competitor and one of the top women of the faces of the women's division who could actually be women's champion. This is like their counter and finally pushing Liz Morgan to that spotlight. Also, it's like a little cover of a, hey, we know we just released some people, so here, Liz Morgan is the #1 contender. Y'all been wanting to see that for a long time, right? Pay attention to the Liz Morgan push. Don't pay attention to the releases. No, we still know about the releases. We felt them on Raw. Raw felt short because they released all those people. But yeah, I will say, other than the finish, I'm happy that Liv Morgan got the win. The next match was just the main event, which will see Kevin Owens versus Seth freaking Rollins. This match was an awesome match. I mean, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens brought the house down. Now, I would have said that the finish of this match was something I would have had a problem with, but because it served a story purpose, throughout the whole night, Seth Rollins has been trash talking Kevin Owens, trying to get everybody to believe that Kevin Owens is nothing but a backstabber. Kevin Owens is trying to prove that he's not, only for them to actually prove that only for him to, basically say he isn't, and he's, so he's basically trying to win this match to prove he's not. The match was good. 2 commercial break. They badly beat the hell out of each other. And but the finish would come when basically they brawled on the ring. They brawled on the outside of the ring too much. But Seth Rollins was able to get to the ring to beat the count. And Kevin Owens would have beat the count as well. But he ran into Big E. It was like a spot in that match where they were, I think either Seth Rollins or Kevin Owens got tossed into the chair that Big E was sitting in at ringside. But then they basically brawled around Big E. But that's when Seth Rollins ran on one side of Big E, and KO was trying to go to the other side of Big E, but he ran into Big E, which blocked him, and he wasn't able to get into the ring in time, and thus lost to Seth Rollins, making Seth Rollins the winner via count out. And this was frustrated Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens, sitting there frustrated he just lost the match. And, Big E weirdly taking off his coat, which meant there's only one thing was about to happen, because we still had a little bit of time left. So I knew something was about to happen, and that's what happened. As Big E is staring down Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, he was standing close to the ring, where on the ring apron where Kevin Owens was still standing at, and Kevin Owens would kick Big E, and he would proceed to destroy Big E. I think he hit him with a couple of moves, beat him up, and he would end up doing that apron power bomb to Big E. And then stomping him some more at the end of the program. They ended the program with him yelling and in frustration and screaming. It don't look like it was a heel turn for Kevin Owens. It looked more like he might have thought that Big E did what he did on purpose. Yeah, he did. It was odd that when Kevin Owens bumped into Big E didn't move so Kevin Owens could keep going. It's like he bumped and it was almost like he held Kevin Owens. He didn't purposely do it, but it was like when he bumped into Big E, Kevin Owens got stuck on Big E. And instead of Big E just immediately moving out the way, it looked like he bumped into him. Big E couldn't move out the way quick enough to get out of Kevin Owens' way, but that's what it looked like they're going to try to go with that. Kevin Owens is not heel, but he thought Big E did that on purpose. But let me know in the comments what you thought of this Monday Night Raw, and if you thought Kevin Owens went heel or not, or if Big E did that on purpose or not. And if you enjoyed this video, then hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my reviews of WWE. And if you enjoyed this video so much and want to support the channel, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn notifications all the way on so you get notified when I drop videos, posts, whatever. Because the upcoming season 2 of LilBigMan Gaming is going to be something great. I'm going to try to make it something great because I want to move. I'm dead serious about this YouTube thing. I want to try to move it to the next stage of it. And as always, hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content. But Chief is out. Peace. See you.